Good morning, y'all. I did not have time to really prepare for this message. When I got up this morning to say my prayers, God released it to me. So I'm gonna get out to you guys. It's not a long teaching, and some will be like this. Some will be real impromptu. I will do some that's full dedicated teachings, but when God gives me something like this, I'm on it and good to go. So we are on vacation. I am using my our bathroom as a recording place. So if y'all hear echo, that's why, because the kids are getting dressed to go to the water park downstairs. But I want to get this out real quick so that you guys can get on with your day and get free from the bondage that you've been in. Okay, so this morning, as I was in my prayers, God spoke to me and he told me, he said that his children have been in spiritual Egypt and he wants them to be free. So the Israelites, and I have a couple notes, y'all, not many, because like I said, I didn't really have full time to prepare, but he'll give me the words he wants me to say, and it's going to touch who it needs to and reach who it needs to, okay? So the people of Israel have lived in Egypt for 430 years. Exodus 12 verse 14 tells us that they left on the last day of the 30 years. Okay, so God's children, he wants us to be free. And although we know we're not physically in Egypt, but the spiritual bondage of Egypt is just as worse. It has a real tight grip. It is a slave driver. It is hot heat because you're frustrated and upset from whatever this bondage may be. It could be bondage from people. It could be bondage from money. It could be bondage from sex. It could be bondage from pornography. It can be bondage from whatever God has told you, hey, don't do that anymore, I got you. Because you've been trying to cope, self-medicating with whatever it may be, shopping, money, whatever the case is. And I'm talking to y'all from experience. That's why as I tell y'all these things, I'm going to be very transparent, because if not, you're not fully going to get free, because covering up things and hiding, sweeping under the rug is no more. God tells us that he going to holler from the rooftop. And from what I'm seeing, having his children wherever all of us are who he has called, these are the rooftops, because we have access to millions of people, okay? And I had wrote something down on my phone, but evidently he don't want me to say that. He want me to say this. So that's what we're going with, all right? So when we look at Exodus, as the Israelites are leaving, they get to the point where they are getting ready. They're leaving. And at this point, Pharaoh's army is behind them. He's hot on their trail, okay? The Israelites are trapped. We know the story, right? They're approaching the Red Sea, but the enemy is right behind them, right? But we know as God says, I got y'all, okay? All you need to do is just stand, okay? At one point, we know Moses started to cry out to the Lord. He's like, hey, you got me leading these people, but you've led me to a dead end. It's the Red Sea. Like, how we gonna cross? And God told him, what you crying to me for? I've already given you the tools in your hand to use, which is that staff. So whatever tool God has given you to overcome out of the bondage of Egypt, use it. I don't know what that may be. For me, it was just going to him, confessing just how it was, and having to let some things go. And some of you, just as I am, you're going to have to let some things go. And that includes people. Okay, do not feel sorry about it. Do not feel scared about it, because the fact of the matter, if you having those things, that is bondage right in itself. So if you are somebody that's feeling that and you say, oh, if I gotta let people go, you know, well, what's gonna happen? Or say, don't worry about it, because evidently God is gonna use whoever he takes, right? He's going to remove them so that they can get help or speak to who he needs to. We can't always look at separation as a bad thing. And I'm not talking about, I know, don't get this confused with leaving your family. Okay, I'm married. I have a husband and 2 children. God has not told me to leave my family. However, he does pull me away from my family during times to do this, and I must be obedient. But that's not the bondage I'm speaking of. The bondage I'm speaking of is bondage where you're not free. You're not free, okay? You depend on people, right? Being people pleasing, that is one of the most tight-knit bondages, form of bondage that you can ever imagine, okay? And sometimes they come from people that's very close to you, but don't get off course, all right? So as the Israelites approaching the Red Sea, naturally, like if we're in front of a Red Sea, you know what I mean, physically, and you ain't got nowhere to go, you would be scared. I mean, it's a lot of water, right? But God does the impossible. And that's what he's going to do, freeing you guys from the spiritual bondage, the spiritual Egypt. Okay? So as the Israelites approach the Red Sea, they're panicking, which is a normal reaction, right? But God told Moses, he said, don't cry to me. I've already supplied you what you need. Take the staff, raise it up, and part the sea, and walk on dry land. So that's what I'm telling whoever this is for. Get up, okay? You at the Red Sea, get up. Stand at it for head first, okay? God has already prepared you. He's already gone before you. You just need to take the step, because we do have free will, and God has called us, but he has let me know some of the things that he's called us for, we have to say yes. He's not going to force us, because he does give us free will, and we know he orders our steps. But there are situations where he let us choose to find out what's in the heart, because some of the things that we go through, it's a heart issue. It really is. And for me, it was. I didn't want to admit it. But when I did, I got freed, and being free is like nothing you've ever experienced. You live a totally different way. Things that would bother me, like I would do things excessively. So OCD is what it's called medically, right? But it was a form of bondage, because it was, oh, if I do this, then I got to make sure it's going to be right. Well, if I don't do this, then this could happen. That was spiritual bondage and witchcraft, okay? God allowed me to deal with it for years, and I will teach on that. But when he freed me, he allowed me to go through those things. And at points when I thought I was free by doing all this other stuff, I wasn't. Because the minute something would come up, I would run back to it. But God has freed me, y'all. I have never felt like this in my life. And I want y'all to get free. And it's going to be done quickly. It will not take long. You just need to say yes, because you're at the Red Sea. You're at the Red Sea. You just say yes, and you're going to walk on dry land. And that dry land is walking out of whatever has you captive, whatever has you bound in captivity. That's what you're going to have to let go of. You're going to have to walk away from it. And it may feel fearful. Do not let fear overtake you, because that is bondage as well. Okay, anything that is not free, and God said that he came that we may have life and have it more abundantly. Anything that has you bound is not God, because he's not going to have you bound. He said his burden is easy and his yoke is light. Okay, not like the yokes that he's breaking off of you, whatever that yoke may be. Okay, and sometimes it may be a little difficult. I'm very transparent. It was some things that I had to let go. Because I was like, Lord, is this you talking to me? You know what I mean? But God has his ways of speaking to you. He may not always whisper in your ear something. Sometimes he does. And you can feel it in your heart. You know it from the inside. But there are times that when you have a relationship with the Lord, and that's what he's trying to get you to. Whoever this bondage is, you know him, but you're not in a relationship. And I knew God. I've grown up knowing God my whole life. But it was a different situation when I got to know him for me. I studied things for years. I've always had a relationship with the Lord, but not like what he has called me to this point, to the freeing, and it showed me who he really is. So he can speak to you in ways that things you will only understand. And the way he assures you, he just shows you things that he's already told you, but he'll show it to you physically. That's why I'm telling y'all this message. Seriously. He showed me 10-10, okay? And I didn't quite know what that meant. Well, like I told you guys, we're at a water park. So I was down in the water park with the wave pool at Graham, you know, just kind of chilling. But I know how God speaks to me. So there was this person who had a tattoo of 10-10. And I was like, God, that's the 10th month of the year. You know, that's Jesse's anniversary. That's the month we were married. But I was like, Lord, you know, what you going to use this for? So as I'm getting prepared to tell you guys this, when I opened my Bible, the top page, it said Exodus 10:10. So now I know that's why I'm telling y'all like this. I did not have time to prepare physically. And that's totally fine, because evidently the word can't wait. And God telling me to do it now because you need to get free right now. Okay? So the Israelites, we know they get to the Red Sea. Okay. Now the enemy is like on them. All right. And that's whatever that is on you. It's on your back. It's on your back. But let me tell you something. Do not turn around. Do you hear me? Do not turn back to Egypt, because it will be worse than when you left. Okay. Keep going. Use what God has given you to part that Red Sea. And with that, what he is giving you to part the Red Sea is his word, okay? It's sharper than the two-edged sword. You hear me? I'm telling y'all from experience. And some of the things that I'm going to share, I haven't recorded, because if I told you, people are like, that can't happen, that's unnatural. And that's just it, because it is unnatural. But God is working things so well for his children. You could get ready to see a miracle. You can go lay hands on somebody. You can raise the dead. You can heal. And don't let nobody tell you no different, okay? You have to stand firm, but you must answer. Many are called, he said, but few are chosen. You got to look at it. Let's take an audition, for instance, right? When people go to an audition, we know if it's like for a music video or something really big, Broadway, anything like that, there are tons of people that show up at the audition. But here's the thing, there's only room for a certain number. And when those directors and their casting crew decide who the chosen ones are, that's who goes forth, okay? The rest are, hey, you ain't make it. You ain't make the cut, okay? But if you are being chosen by God, you will know. He will tell you. You can ask him. He will tell you, okay? And if you're hearing this, he's going to lead you to who he needs to. So most likely, if you're hearing this, issue, okay? Just straight up issue. But go and confirm with him. Don't just take my word for it. I am man, okay?
We're going to go down.
All right. I'm doing what God told me to do, okay? I am man, so don't just take my word for it. You have to go know this for yourself, because he's going to deal with you personally. He deals with me personally, okay? We're all his children, so the ones who he has called, you will know, because your brothers and sisters are going to be saying the same things that you are thinking. I'm speaking from experience, okay? I love y'all too, babies. See, like they're going down to the water park. I'll go after this. This is important. And God has called me, and I've answered the call. So when he tells me to stop and give a word, I have to. Okay, so let's get back to the Red Sea. So as the Israelites are at the Red Sea, they just think like it's over. There's like, Moses, you brought us out here to die, for real? Was there not enough graves in Egypt? Yeah, they were, but God is not putting you in the grave. He's pulling you out of bondage. You think he's going to take you out of bondage and bury you? If that's the case, he could have left you in bondage. He's getting you out of bondage so that you can be free. Free for real free. Not free as if, you know, you got to be doing all this extra stuff to feel okay. No, it's a different kind of feeling. And you will know it. When the Holy Spirit comes on you, when you accept the call, trust me. And testify. Please put in comments, write me, whatever, because I know it's come to pass, because he said it. And it's just time. We don't have time to waste. We really do not. I don't know when the hour is going to be, but I can tell you right now, if you look at what's going on in the world and compare it to his word, you do the math. Okay? Okay, I'll pause it.